I never clean my guns.
How are you even concealed carrying if you don't clean your guns, apparently?
I know, right? I mean, it gets full of belly lint and all that stuff.
It's impossible. A gun probably won't even go off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm unlucky.
I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Silencer Central, Primary Weapon Systems, RangeReadyStudios.com, HI-VIZ Sights, Remington Ammunition, and Guns and Gear Television. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation, yet another week. Welcome in, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ryan.
Chris Cerino.
Yes, in person. Ooh, I'm a whistler now.
Say, Sonny.
Sound like the groundhog on Winnie the Pooh.
That's it. That's the one.
Oh, boy. Sorry.
Sorry. So this podcast, we haven't titled it yet, but we might title it, What Do You Learn in a Concealed Carry Class? Because I got this letter in the mail, and if you're just listening to it, I got this letter. So the letter kind of prompted this discussion. And there are now about half, I don't know if it's 26 or whatever, but roughly about half of the states have some type of permitless carry. So you don't need to go take a class. You don't need a permit to carry a gun.
You just carry a gun.
You just carry it.
Right.
So people will argue when that type of bill is up for argument in the state legislatures. But you're just going to let people carry without taking a class? They need to have some sort of class. They need to have some sort of training.
Do they?
So we teach classes. You teach classes. Range Ready Studios. Is a concealed carry permit class training?
It is training.
Okay.
Because I just recently took my CCW class, my CCP, whatever they call it in Louisiana. I took my class just this winter.
Yeah. And I remember you said, there were actually some stuff, there were some things I learned.
Right. I learned a lot. So it was training.
Okay. So it's training. Now.
But is it gun training?
So you learned where you can and cannot carry legally in the state. But you also learned, let me just kind of jump into this letter, because this is a letter, I'll fill you guys in if you're not from Louisiana, and some states have this, but they have, usually a permit expires, and whether that's 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. They also in Louisiana have a lifetime concealed carry permit.
Right. You need to explain this so people understand.
All right. So here's the deal. I don't know when it was, maybe 10, 12 years ago. Louisiana introduced, you can get a lifetime concealed carry permit. And I was like, sweet, I'll just do that. It's more money, but you're kind of like prepaying and you don't, I'm like, well, I know I'm going to want a permit forever. So let me just go ahead and get the lifetime.
Right. Why wouldn't you?
But the stupid part about the way they do this is you still have to take a certification class. You don't have to do the other steps like getting fingerprinted, but you still have to take a class once every 5 years and just send it in. So your permit's still good as long as you keep sending in, yes, I took a class, a concealed carry class, not a 2-day defensive pistol class. That wouldn't qualify for this. It has to be approved.
Well, you skipped over the part where, and I don't understand when. So in most states, you can use your concealed carry permit in lieu of calling in to the NICS check when you buy a gun.
Yeah.
If you have a lifetime permit in Louisiana, it doesn't count.
You can't do that. Yeah, it doesn't count, which was, I didn't know that at the time. And now I'm like, well, should I go get a regular permit and have a lifetime? But their reason for this is, well, if you have a lifetime license and they don't do a background check on you every 5 years, I don't know if that's the case. I guess it's not. You could become a felon at some point, and then you're going to say, oh, here's my lifetime license. And the gun dealer literally looks at it, sees that it's not expired, and just sells you the gun. They don't have to call into the background check system, which normally makes sense. You're a vetted good guy. They've done the background check on you.
But a lot can happen in 5 years, let alone a lifetime.
That's fair. That's fair.
So then what's the purpose of this letter now? Let's talk.
All right, so let's go through this, because the part that I kind of wanted to jump into is, in order to maintain an approved status of your lifetime permit, you must provide a certificate of completion from a concealed handgun training course taught by a Louisiana State Police approved instructor prior to each 5-year period. So we always joke, Chris, you've taken a lot of classes. You've taught a lot of law enforcement, a lot of civilians. Are you a Louisiana State approved instructor?
I guess I could be.
You could be if you wanted to
but
be.
I'm not.
Yeah, right. So here's my joke. Anyone can get approved, okay?
Right. All you have to do is
You fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, fill out the paperwork, maybe take a couple of range safety officer classes, or maybe a basic firearms instructor class.
It doesn't mean
what do you do?
you're a good instructor. It doesn't mean that you're a good shooter. It doesn't mean that you know your stuff. Here's my problem with it is, I'm getting ahead of myself, but here's my problem with it. What you learn in the concealed carry class, what is the purpose? If they're saying, well, we got to have some training for these people, they're just going to be walking around with guns. You got to have some training. To me, what would be the most important thing on training someone and requiring training for a concealed carry? I would want them to be safe and proficient with the gun.
Well, I think safety and proficiency is important, but I also have to go back to what I learned in the class. I learned all kinds of legal stuff that I thought was important, how I should deal with law enforcement during traffic stops, where I can and cannot carry, when I should or should not carry. I learned that there's some alcohol allowed to be in my system while I'm carrying. There's a small percentage.
That's tricky, though.
Yeah, exactly. But, you learn all those things because most people will tell you everything's black and white and blah, blah, blah. But then I had to do the shooting portion, which took, it maybe took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it didn't prove anything about my ability to have a gun in public.
And this is when I say, here's my stance on concealed carry permits. You should not have to have a permit to exercise the Second Amendment right. You shouldn't have to be required to go ask the government, please, may I exercise this right? It'd be like saying, well, you can go to church and have freedom of religion. You just have to go take a course first. We have to make sure you're an approved person. Now, if people go, well, what? You're saying that they shouldn't have training? No, I think if you're going to carry a gun, you should want to get some training, but it shouldn't be required.
Yeah. Driving a car is not a right, supposedly. Honestly.
And you can take a test when you're 16 years old and you never go back there.
Right. You're allowed to have freedom of movement, freedom of travel. You can go anywhere you want. You can do anything you want. You just can't do it in a car unless you have a license. I don't know. It's when you start looking at it and spinning it around, it could be anything like, hey, you want to defend yourself? Well, you have to take a class to carry a gun, but you can carry this knife, or you can carry this baseball bat, or you can have these brass knuckles.
Or you can have,
whatever.
Depending on your state, you could have a gun in your car and not have to have a carry permit, and you could use that gun for self-defense.
Right. It's so vague and it's so wild and widespread that it's very hard to actually take it all in.
All right, so you guys are going to love this list of what is required to be included in the training, and we'll tell you about it right after this break. One of the most popular concealed carry handguns in the country is the SAUER P365. Well, they continue to expand on that family with the X Macro. What's the X Macro? Well, it's a P365, but it's a little bit bigger, and it holds quite a bit more ammo. It's optics ready with an X series slide compatible with the Romeo Zero Elite. All new macro compact grip module featuring standard 1913 rail, so a pick rail on front, and interchangeable back straps. Comes with two 17-round steel magazines, HI-VIZ followers. And when you think about a 17-round 9mm handgun, this is smaller than what you're expecting. So it's pretty impressive. It's very trim, and it's been a favorite of a lot of people that I've talked to who shot the gun. So you can learn more at SAUER.com. The ultimate range companion just may be the Ruger LC carbine. LC carbine chambered in 5.7 by 28. The old 5.7. I'm wearing the t-shirt today. You can buy it over at our store. But it's just a cool, fun gun. The 5.7 is good for small game hunting, good for range, good for backpacking, pretty versatile, and it's reliable. It weighs under 6 pounds and has a folding stock, so you can fold it up, put it in a pack, and it uses Ruger mags. There's just a lot of cool features about this. You can learn more over at Ruger.com. MGM Targets, known for high quality steel targets. And whether it's serious training or whether it's preparing for hunting season, there's a few fun ones that I'm kind of scrolling around looking at on their website. They've got bear targets, deer targets, elk targets. So if you have a little piece of land or a little range, you could set out these targets, and now you can really get serious about practicing your rifle shots. You could also get an IPSC target, which gives you immediate feedback. Did you hit? Did you miss? And where was that hit or miss? A little bit easier to see those a lot of times than like a cardboard target of seeing your bullet holes or your hits. So check out mgmtargets.com. RangeReadyStudios.com is where you go to find out about new training courses, like some of the stuff that Chris and I are talking about on this podcast. The Hodgdon Experience with the Ultimate Reloader is the latest one, and it's a reloading class. Yeah, learn to reload your own ammo, or maybe just get better and work with some of the premier experts when it comes to reloading in the country. It's happening November 16th and 17th down here at Robert, Louisiana. You can learn more over at RangeReadyStudios.com. All right, so it's a one-page letter, and they list what must be taught in the recertification for concealed carry. Number 1, instruction on handgun nomenclature and safe handling procedures for a revolver and a semi-automatic pistol.
I don't know if I remember that in my CCW class, though. Carry on. I'm serious.
Look, it's good for people to be safe with their guns. But like saying a revolver is a type of gun that has a cylinder. When you pull the trigger, it turns the cylinder and drops the hammer if it's a double action. That's why it's called double action, because it performs two actions at the same time. What in the world does that have to do with a gun is in your pants at a grocery store and someone starts shooting?
Right. My girlfriend, my wife, my lady friends don't care about that. They want to know how to use the gun and stop the threat. Carry on.
All right. Number 2, instruction on ammunition knowledge and fundamentals of pistol shooting. Okay.
All right. So fundamentals of pistol shooting. Fine.
That's not a bad thing.
Ammunition knowledge? I mean, are we talking about a hunter education course here, or what are we talking about?
Here is I think, and I hope I'm probably going to miss something, and you guys point out when I'm wrong on this stuff, but here's the extent of the ammunition knowledge talk. Make sure the ammunition that's on the head stamp of the ammunition matches what's on your gun. Safety 101. Use the proper ammunition for your gun.
Right, but I have a 9mm, and this box says 9mm Parabellum, or this box says 9mm Luger, or it says 9x19. So is that going to work?
Yeah, I know. It's not simple, but it's simple. Well, and then you have, and I've heard this, concealed carry instructors who will tell people, well, you don't want to carry hollow points because that'll get you put in jail. Well, that's not true. What are you talking about? Maybe in New Jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. In New Jersey.
All of these, and here is the disclaimer. Laws vary state to state, and even metro area to metro area, city to city.
Sure.
So be careful. This is not legal advice. All right, number 3, instruction on handgun shooting positions. plural.
I know what, like, so in my concealed carry class, I was just advised to stand there, deliver 6 shots on target, move back, do it again, move back, do it again, and that was it. No, I think I had to reload and then do it. So I had to do 12 at 3 different
You do have
distances.
to show, well, yeah, skipping ahead, you have to show reload. Number 4, instruction on the use of deadly force and conflict resolution, which shall include a review of something code, whatever, which may include a review of any other laws relating to use of deadly force. Okay, this is one I probably could get behind and say, I don't think it should be required, again, to exercise your Second Amendment right. But if you're going to carry a gun, it'd be really good to know deadly force law.
Yeah, you should absolutely be looking at these types of things all the time because it's your job, it's your duty.
Yeah. But people don't, I mean, how many people actually do continuing ed for themselves?
You know, it's funny because there's a small group of people that absolutely do that. They are always reading, looking at blogs, looking at videos on YouTube, and that's all great stuff. And you should be doing that. You should be a member of some kind of insurance. Like I'm a member of USCCA, and they put out a tip like every week. And you can go back through all their videos, and honestly, some of them are very good.
Yeah.
I look at them, and I'm not going to say some of them are very bad or even bad. But
Yeah.
some of them are very informative, and I enjoy listening to it and learning it because it's just reinforcing.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Number 5, actual live range fire, and proper handgun cleaning procedures. You have to learn how to clean your gun.
I never clean my guns.
How are you even concealed carrying if you don't clean your guns? Apparently,
I know, right? I mean, it gets full of belly lint and all that stuff.
It's impossible. A gun probably won't even go off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm unlucky. Yeah, well, so I don't remember that either in my class. I don't remember a portion of it being care and maintenance. You know, and how do you, why do you teach that? I mean, that's just something that people should do. It's like you wash your car, you should wash your gun.
Being, do they require care and maintenance instruction when you get your driver's license?
That's funny. You know, you really should take care of your car. You should change the oil. You should check the brakes, check the tire pressure, all that stuff.
Actually, you know what? I think they do. I think they said, oh my gosh, I'm flashing back now. They would say, before you go driving, always do a walk around your car.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure that your tires are full of air, that your headlights work, blinkers work, horn works.
Yeah, toot the horn every time before you take off. I'm sure no one will look at you.
This freaking, this Chris Cerino guy lives next to me. Every morning when he leaves for work, beep, beep.
God. Yes, we used to have a neighbor called Beep Beep.
Are you serious?
Yeah, every time he'd pull out, toot toot, like nobody
He
knows
was
you're
checking his
leaving.
horn.
Just making sure it works.
Safety check.
Oh my gosh.
Like a pre-flight on a,
Right.
he's a pilot.
Well,
Flaps,
and a police car, we did all
oil,
that stuff.
gas. Did you?
Yeah.
Before going out?
We'd pull over to the area in the building where there were windows low enough. We'd back up to that, hit the brakes, put on turn signals, pull forward.
Every time?
Check yeah, just
Okay.
about, unless you were running out the door.
Yeah.
Hit the sirens, turn the lights on, the overheads, all the different functions. Do
That
all
makes
that
sense.
stuff.
It's for work. And when at work, we can give you that checklist and go, hey, you got to make sure these things are right.
Yeah, well, you have to, because if your stuff doesn't work, how are you going to give somebody a ticket for something that doesn't work on their car?
Maybe perhaps also make sure your gun's loaded before you go on patrol.
Well, that's if you take it out of the holster. Now, you can absolutely leave it in the holster and on your belt and hang it in the closet.
Once a year, I
Every
take it
day.
out
Yeah,
for
once
quals.
a year for quals, yes. Oh, shoot, man. I forgot to put a round in the chamber. How long has it been like that?
Since last year when I
since
called.
last year, I forgot to reload it. Oh, my gosh.
Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
so all this stuff. And so what's the purpose of the lifetime permit, Ryan?
What is the purpose? I think they just got extra money earlier from me.
Right, and you can't use your permit to get a gun.
Right, to do in lieu of a 4473, or maybe you still do the 4473, but they don't have to call it in.
Yeah, they don't have to call it in.
Yeah.
But so now that they sent this out, is this the first time you've gotten one of these?
As far as I know, it's the first time, and I actually appreciate it because last time around, I was kind of going, okay, my license doesn't have, or my permit doesn't have an expiration date.
How long have you had it?
It's a lifetime. And I've already renewed it once or twice since I've had it.
But as a lifetime?
Huh? I've had it for a while.
Why do you renew it if it's a lifetime? I don't understand.
It doesn't make. This is your government at work here.
Yeah.
Like, so live fire shall include 12 rounds each at 6 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet for a total of 36 rounds.
You got to go all the way back to 15 feet?
Yeah.
Man.
A whole 5 yards.
Wow.
And each permittee must perform at least one safe reload of the handgun at each distance. When I did it with a group of people, they were given instructions on how to reload their gun.
Right.
It wasn't.
So then what does that prove? If someone's standing there holding your hand through all this, there's no time limit. What does any of that prove?
Each permittee must score 100% hits within the silhouette portion of an NRA B27 type silhouette target with at least 36 rounds. Wait, can you shoot more than 36?
I guess, but the target is bigger than me.
The B27 target?
It is. When they brought out the target for my qualification portion or my shooting portion, I said, you got to be kidding me.
It was like enormous. Like Andre the Giant.
Yes, that big.
All right.
Rest his soul.
That guy could put away some beer. All right. When we get back, we'll talk more about permits, what should be in there, perhaps, and what do you learn in what we might call a real pistol class. You carry a gun to save your life and protect your family, and so a lot of people get wrapped up into which gun. Well, how about which ammo are you carrying? Because that's what delivers your intention to the target. Remington Ammunition at Remington.com, they have a lot of different options when it comes to handgun ammo. One of the ones I'm looking at right now is the Golden Saber Defense Compact. Fact of the matter is, compact, shorter barrels, your bullet could perform in a different way. And these are loads that are optimized for those more compact guns. Designed with the concealed carry permit holder in mind to deliver big gun terminal performance out of a shorter barreled pistol and revolver. It's engineered to provide optimal penetration and expansion even through heavy clothing at lower velocities for maximum stopping power. That's what this is all about. Check it out over at Remington.com. Primary Weapon Systems, known for high-quality ARs, but they also do suppressors. And they have their BDE line of suppressors, the 7.62, of course, 30 caliber, 5.56, a 9mm, 22. One of the cool things about this is it's 3D printed, and it lets them do some things that you can't do in regular machining. They have this very interesting pattern on the outside. And yes, it looks cool, but it actually performs a function. And it helps to break up the mirage, which is really helpful on rifles. Your 5.56, 7.62, shooting at distance, the mirage, once it starts heating up, can kind of affect what you're seeing through your scope or your optic, but this pattern helps break up that mirage. Pretty cool thinking from some people who are really shooters and gun people. You can learn more at primaryweapons.com. New season of Guns and Gear. It's happening, people. Season number 15. We're covering all the latest and greatest products in the firearms industry. We interview the experts. They come into our studio. We take the stuff out to the range. We test it on the range. We demonstrate it and see how it works. You can watch it on the Outdoor Channel right now through the end of September, and then you'll be able to watch it on the Sportsman Channel from October through the end of the year. So tune in. You can learn more over at guntalk.com or just search for Guns and Gear online and you'll find us. Silencer Central makes it easy to buy silencers, which is good because for some of us, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But they make it easy. They sell their own silencers and they're really high quality silencers. So you could look at silencers for your pistol, for your rimfire, for your rifle. They have it going way up to the big stuff. The Banish 46, you can actually shoot that on a 45-70, which is pretty cool. The thing is, when you go to silencercentral.com, they will help you with the paperwork to get your tax stamp. And for a lot of us, that's the part that's the mystery. That's the enigma. And they hold your hand. They make it easy. Silencercentral.com is where you go to learn more. So the permit classes. So most of the states, and like I said, I think it's about half, about 26 states, do not require you to have a permit to carry. And I think most of them, of course, you don't have to take a class if you don't need a permit. So somehow, out of the half of the population of the U.S., they're doing this right now, and you don't hear about a bunch of problems.
Right.
So like the whole what if thing, like what if the sample size was approximately half of the country? That's a pretty good sample size.
And it absolutely could be. We don't know who's carrying it because they don't have a permit. And if they don't have an interaction with law enforcement, you'll never know.
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but I had a text exchange with a buddy of mine yesterday. Lives in Houston. He said, oh, by the way, there was a shooting at the grocery store I go to today in the afternoon. It's like a shooting. He goes, yeah, I don't know all the details, but apparently two guys got in an argument and somebody shot 3 shots. No one was injured.
Thank God.
I'm like, wow. So 3 shots in an argument in a grocery store. You assume that they're not on opposite sides of the grocery store, that they're actually like me and you, like
probably in that training distance there.
Yeah, they're
6
within
to 15 feet.
Definitely, right?
Or closer.
I had my eyes on those baguettes. You just took the last bag.
I just couldn't get my eyes off the Little Debbie's, and I missed.
But he said, yeah. And then he said, apparently one guy showed his gun and the other guy started shooting.
Well, I mean, if you show me your gun, why are you showing it to me?
I told him, I said, man, showing your gun to someone is a great way to get shot, especially in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Let me show you my gun. Screw you.
Yeah, I wonder
what I got.
I wonder what showed means. Did he lift up his shirt? Did he take his gun out and hold it up? You know, did he just reach for it? And I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could probably display a firearm, and all of them to me would be frightening because I would assume the next thing coming would be the business end.
Yeah. Think about that. If you're in a grocery store and somebody's like takes issue with something, I don't know how this would happen. Like, you know,
I don't know. You're on my foot.
You ran over my foot with the shopping cart. And then all of a sudden it's getting heated or whatever. Maybe you're having a bad day and you don't say, I'm sorry, man. Maybe you're like, dude, screw you.
Right.
And he screw you. And then he shows you his gun. What is your reaction going to be?
I'd be very close to showing him my gun while I was retreating.
Yeah?
Probably.
If you're really close, you might grab his gun.
Yeah, well,
Like
stuff
stuff
what
it.
his hands were
Stuff
doing.
it, right?
Like I said, I watch muzzles and trigger fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the gun pointed? Where's the trigger finger?
Yeah.
You know, do I close the distance? Do I retreat? How is he behaving? Is he just being a blowhard? I don't know, but I definitely probably don't shoot at him.
Not yet?
Just because he shows me his gun.
Do not fire unless fired upon.
No. No, you don't have to wait to be punched, kicked, or shot at to use force. But, I mean, as a prudent person, as me, I'm going to err on the side of caution and risk myself being harmed. Who am I with?
Really?
Who am I with? Am I with my girlfriend? Am I with my kids?
Mm-hmm.
That's different too, because I can't protect them and I can't risk them because they may not be willing to accept the amount of risk I'm willing to accept.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me. I mean, it doesn't mean it's right. Somebody out there is going, oh, just shoot him. I wouldn't.
Right. As soon as I see the glint of a gun or he puts his hand on his gun that's in his holster, I'm drawing. I'm shooting.
I may draw. Doesn't mean I'm going to shoot. Just because I point a gun, just because I touch the trigger, Just because I put sights on target doesn't mean I'm going to shoot, because deadly force is a conscious decision.
That's an important thing. I want you to talk more about that.
Well, we talk about it in every class we do here at Range Ready.
So someone draws a gun. I know. I know what this is. You draw the gun. You present the gun on target. Maybe you even put finger on trigger. But a lot of people, I guess the reason, why do you talk about this?
Because the rule of don't touch the trigger unless you're ready to fire, or don't take the gun out of your holster. Law enforcement academies say, don't take the gun out of your holster unless you're doing it to save your life or the life of another.
Unless you plan to use it.
Yeah, unless you plan to use it. I mean, which is crap, because the gun comes out of the holster, we point guns at people, we put fingers on triggers, and if you're not, I mean, you're behind the power curve on that, because if you think you're going to have to shoot somebody, your finger probably should be on the trigger while your brain's making the decision to shoot.
But with enough training, you also should be able to draw a gun, present gun, touch the trigger, and also not fire the gun.
Say, yeah, no, this is bad.
Never mind.
Bad backdrop. No. Circumstances changed. Something got in between us. It's not the backdrop. Now it's the foredrop. Mm-hmm. Is there a foredrop? Can I say that?
Foreground?
Foreground? Yeah.
Somebody jumps in front of the bad guy.
Right. Things change, or you see his eyes change. Something changes in his eyes. He realizes, oh, crap, this guy's got a gun and he's going to shoot me. And he just doesn't follow through with whatever he was going to do.
He drops the tire iron.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to shoot anybody that they don't have to.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
And I've not shot a lot of people.
Could have, I've heard that from various cops and military. There's a lot of people could have shot and been justified.
100% justified.
But didn't want to and was able to not to.
Yeah, well, if I'm still here today, that means I made the right choice. Mm-hmm. And I'm not crippled. I'm not injured. I didn't just survive. I'm not just living.
Right.
I'm fine.
Yeah. So what do you learn in a 2-day defensive pistol class, like the ones we do, that you perhaps don't learn in your concealed carry permit class?
Well, you learn how to work with your gear. You learn how to work with a holster. You learn reloads. So you learn manipulation skills, because you have to be able to manipulate a firearm, because if it comes out of your waistband, and every once in a while I do find my magazine gets popped when I'm touching my gun and my belt. I'll
bump
pop
the magazine.
You bump a mag inadvertently, and now you draw it, and the gun doesn't go off, or the magazine's not seated, and you only get one round. Do you understand a malfunction clearance or a failure to fire? You learn that stuff. You learn manipulation skills. You learn gear manipulation. You learn fundamentals of marksmanship. You know what it takes to actually hit, because after all, another thing I say in every class we have here is you are responsible for every round that comes out of your gun. Yes, in training, with a big pile of dirt, shooting at a piece of paper, glued to cardboard, stapled to a stick that's not moving or shooting back at you, we're allowed to make mistakes. This is where we make them. But we acknowledge that, and we don't continue to make mistakes, because if you continue to do poorly and not put bullets where I asked you to put them, then you suck, because you can't get your head out of your rear end enough to do it. Now, you can see almost, you've been here long enough.
I don't think I've ever heard you say to anyone, you suck.
Oh, really? I'm so glad. Listen, we all suck sometimes, but we reverse the suck and we start doing better, because you can't just allow piss poor performance to continue. Mm-hmm. That's why we're here. We're here to train. It's not just about, lead down range, holes in cardboard or around cardboard.
I mean, I think anybody who especially values the instruction. You're not just made to come here. It's not a job requirement. But if you're saying, I want to take some training and I want to get better, I wouldn't mind if you said, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, I say this is completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you give them,
this is okay, but it's unacceptable considering. And then we give them instruction and we move forward, and it usually becomes more acceptable every time.
And also, the more training, the more practice, but training under a trainer, not just practice.
Training done under the watchful eye of a qualified instructor.
The more you do that, the more that if you are sucking. You're on target. Your shots are just not good. You can start. I could say to you, yeah, man, my trigger finger was just a mess, or my grip was a mess, and at least you can start to kind of know.
Well, you can't fix it until
You can self-diagnose.
And we see that with people in classes all the time. I see people that start to flinch, and the gun just goes, like they're just about to push it into the dirt. They fire the shot, below the target, and they stop themselves. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And they're like, yeah, you saw that. And I'm like, yeah, I saw it. It was fantastic. And they're embarrassed, and I'm excited because most people can't stop themselves from doing that, and they still crank off a round. Yeah. When you stop yourself, get it back on target, and crank off the round and get a hit,
yeah,
that's huge. Those are huge gains, man. People are like, oh, yeah, I totally felt myself smash the trigger. Like, I didn't even feel what I was doing, or I don't even know what I saw when I fired that shot. That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's big learning.
Sights.
Grip sights and trigger, man.
Grip sights and trigger.
Hold the gun. I mean, even if you can't hold the gun correctly, you can still do sights and trigger.
So just sights and trigger.
Well,
grip is better,
you could use
but you can get away with a not perfect grip.
Yeah, well, when something is not right, you make something else better.
Yeah?
Yeah, if your grip's not good, I focus a little harder on pressing the trigger better. If I have one hand on the gun, I have to try a little harder to keep it on target while I press the trigger, which means I'm probably being a little more gentle with something. The thing is, I don't know how gentle you're going to be able to be with the trigger when the target does start moving and shooting back at you.
Yeah.
So, and when all else fails, align the sights and press the trigger in some fashion.
You've heard from people who have taken classes from you and had to use their gun to defend themselves.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you exactly what you just said, right?
Right.
What do they say?
I heard your voice in my head. Hey, jackass, how about you align the sights and press the trigger?
Wow. In the middle of it.
Yeah, and then put hits on target and drop the bad guy.
Wow.
I've had other guys say, yeah, it happened so fast. I mean, all I saw was the sights, and they were as big as cinder blocks. I saw the bullets go into his shirt.
What?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're target focused and
They say things slow down.
some people say they never see their sights. Well, I think that sights are kind of subconscious, and I think Travis Haley feels the same way. Like sights become subconscious, just like the lines on the road do. We don't really focus on the lines on the road or the traffic signals. They are subconscious to us. We react to them.
But is it subconscious only if you shoot enough?
Probably.
Probably not when you're first getting into it.
No. What it is it's the voice in your head is saying, hey, put the sights on target, press the trigger. And then the voice goes away and it becomes, I just put the gun out there. I see what I need to see, feel what I need to feel. I'm not really thinking about it and there's no voice. But then all of a sudden you suck again. Like I have those days when I suck again and all of a sudden I say, hey, how about seeing some semblance of sights on target and feeling the trigger a little more?
You're having that own self-talk.
Yeah, because you can't run out of bullets. What are you going to do? Just shoot? You're going to shoot harder?
Right.
Shoot faster? Shoot more? Because you only have so many bullets. At some point, your brain has to say, hey, man, we need to get a hit.
Right.
What does that take?
So we have this wall in our classroom. That's a cool like selfie wall, fluorescent lettering that says grip, sights, trigger. And Max Michelle was here the other day doing a podcast with us. And what did you say? What do you think of that wall? What do you
said,
think
hey,
of it?
Max, are you okay with what we have on the wall in there, the grip, sights, and trigger thing, or is that too corny? And he's like, no, man, 100% spot on. It's what I tell myself before a stage. If I don't tell myself before a stage, I can lose sight of it.
Right before an important stage, shooting a national match, Max Michelle, whatever bajillion time champion, tells himself grip, sights, trigger.
Grip, sights, and trigger. And that's just something that over years I've just realized that those are the most important fundamentals.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what else is going on in the world. Just hold the gun best you can, see the sights on target, and press the trigger.
Cool. I think that's a good stopping point, man. And I would love to hear your comments. If you're listening to this, you're watching it on YouTube or whatever. What are your thoughts on permit classes? What are you learning them? Taking classes?
What I want to know is this. When you find the class that has all this in there, including the weapon care and maintenance and nomenclature, You let me know, because I'm not going to be running that class here.
No, I'm going to find it, and whoever is approved by the state and they get the little green thumb up.
We're going to have to call Barrett.
Okay, I know.
We're just going to have to call Barrett and say, Barrett, how do we cover this stuff and meet these requirements?
That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We will see you all next time on Gun Talk Nation.